right, we're back on Talk of the Town, and as we said, our guest is the Superintendent of Commerce ISD, Charlie Alderman. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I want to talk first of all about UIL realignment. This came out a few weeks ago, and this happens every 2 years.
Yes, sir.
No surprise, and usually they do shake things up a bit. I mean,
Yes, sir.
rarely do you carry over with the same lineup of schools that you had the 2 years previously.
Yes, sir. This year for football, we actually have one of the same schools, which is Van Alstyne. And it's sort of weird in that our football district is going straight up and down, but everything else, basketball and volleyball, is going straight east. So in our football district, we'll have Howe, we'll have Pottsboro, we'll have Bonham, we'll have Van Alstyne, we'll have Lone Oak, and we'll have Rains. Now, quite a few of those teams are teams that I used to play when I was in high school here.
Right.
So for me, it's sort of exciting to get to go play Bonham again, get to play Emory again. Those are the teams that I grew up playing.
Yeah. Let's see if we can we have a graphic on that, and I don't know if we're going to superimpose that. There it is. There's the football district. Now, let me put my glasses on so I can see that better. Maybe I can look around the glare. So Bonham, Lone Oak's growing.
Yes, sir.
Moving up.
And Bonham came down. They were actually larger last year.
Ah, they've moved down from 4A?
From 4A Division II to 3A Division I.
Pottsboro with an excellent recent record in football.
Yes, sir.
Rains, and that's, as you said, that's an old Commerce
And
rival.
they've moved down too.
They moved down.
Yes, sir. They were 4A Division II.
Oh. And then Van Alstyne, we've had quite a few great games with Van Alstyne in recent years, and in football have been in that district before with them.
Yes, sir. Now, there's one that's not on there. Howe is also in our district.
Oh, that may be my mistake. Howe, also up around Sherman Denison
Yes,
area.
sir. And they're moving up from Division II to Division I.
So this takes place this coming fall.
Yes,
that
sir.
will be the district alignment. And then, as you said, the basketball district looks quite a bit different, so maybe we can put that up.
Actually, none of them are the same.
Yeah.
And for our basketball district, you know, we'll go to Mount Pleasant, Mount Vernon, and Winsboro, which are all pretty close, almost straight east. And then we'll go to a little bit northeast with Parish Chisholm, with Prairie Land. Cooper's somebody that we've been in and out of a district with. Our basketball district's also very similar, or actually exactly the same as our volleyball district, except for the schools that are not playing volleyball. Winsboro and Cooper do not play volleyball, so all those other teams will be our volleyball district.
I'm just astounded that there are schools that don't play volleyball.
Yes, sir.
I did not realize that.
Cooper and Winsboro, you know, they both had a history of very good basketball programs.
Yeah.
And I think they feel like having a volleyball program pulls away from that just a little bit. But they've been straight basketball as far as I can remember.
People don't remember, though, Charlie, volleyball is a relatively late comer to
Yes, sir.
high school sports. What started for most schools in the 70s?
Yes, sir,
Probably
somewhere
the
around
70s
there.
or 80s?
Now, also remember about that time, girls basketball was only 3-on-3.
That's right. Oh, people would be amazed to see that.
Half court. Yes, sir.
Half court. You had 3 girls on one end, 3 on the other end.
Yes,
They did
sir.
not cross over. So
Yes,
you
sir.
had a defensive unit and an offensive unit.
Yes, sir.
And the defensive unit would get the rebound, bring it to mid-court, and
They
pass
would
it across
on
the
the other
line.
side. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
very strange. Yeah, I'd almost forgotten that. But yeah. So the basketball district much more easterly, and that resembles the football district that you've been in the past several years.
Well, and the basketball district's going to be very difficult. I mean, if you look at the playoffs right now,
Yeah.
Mount Vernon's still in the playoffs. Mount Pleasant Chapel Hill is still in the playoffs. We're in the playoffs. So it's not going to be an easy basketball district.
All right. Now you brought up basketball, so let's talk about the Commerce High School boys basketball team. They're doing extremely well. They've won a couple of playoff games. There they are. We can see them there.
Yes, sir.
And they will be playing Tuesday night at 6:30 at Rockwall High School against Kemp, and that is an area round game.
It's the regional quarterfinals.
Regional quarterfinals. We've already had the area.
So if you win this one, you go to the regional tournament, and you'll play the regional semi and then the regional final.
That's we're moving on up there, huh?
Yes, sir.
That is a very big game Tuesday night
Yes, sir.
against Kemp, and of
And
course.
they're the same team that knocked us out in football.
I was about to bring that up, that Commerce and Kemp are getting to be rivals, and that Commerce played Kemp in the football playoffs, and ultimately that was the team that knocked Commerce out. And I bet we'll see a lot of the same fellas.
Yes, sir.
And of course,
That
certainly a lot of the-
receiver and some of those other ones that were
Right.
making a lot of those plays, it'll be
Right.
the same ones.
And of course, the same is true for the Tiger basketball team. You have J.J. Savage and Casey Shields and Jamie and Shaw. all on the basketball team and also big contributors on the football team. So Tuesday night, 6:30 versus Kemp at Rockwall High School, and if the Tigers win, then they're in the regional tournament.
And that will be Friday night at 8 o'clock at Rockwall Heath. And if they win that one, they play in the regional final to go to state at 1 o'clock on Saturday at Rockwall Heath. And they're exciting to watch. If you get a chance to, they are a lot of fun. It's run and gun.
It is a fun team to watch. It really is. And yeah, a lot of those, the kids that did so well in football just stepped right into the basketball and haven't missed a beat. More serious subject, of course, in the past week or so, the attention of the nation has been riveted to Parkland, Florida, where that terrible shooting took place. And I think everyone involved in the public school business has had their attention riveted on that subject since that time. What are your thoughts about that situation?
First of all, as an educator, it's got to be our greatest fear. You know, we build relationships with kids. We care for kids. They become ours in a very large sense. Somebody coming in and hurting our kids is the thing that keeps you up at night. So yes, there's a lot of fear there. Before that even happened, our Commerce ISD Police Chief Joe Venerable and I sat down, and we had already started going over some of the different security and safety measures. It's something that we need to review every year. Just so that we can make sure that we're staying on top of things. But this has definitely really pushed us to pay attention to what we're doing. So actually in the March board meeting, we have a presentation for the board on all the different options we have out there. Some of them, honestly, I told Officer Venable to give us everything he could. And I'm sure some of them will cost millions of dollars to do, and we may not have that. But we're still going to look at all the options and see what we can do. We do a lot of things really well right now. We have a Raptor system at our elementary schools and middle school that actually do background checks on any visitor coming into the building. We have, cameras and door locks on every front door, but there's still things that we can do. So we've got a security audit going on at this time, and we'll present to the board and see where can we get better, what can we do.
I was going to say, and I'm sure it's this way at a lot of other schools as well, you can't just walk in. A person from the public can't just pull into the parking lot and walk into any of the schools.
No, you have to be buzzed in, and that's to make sure somebody is aware that somebody's coming into the building. It does also give you a chance to see them now, you know, if they're hiding something or something along those lines, but it still gives us some control on who's going in and out of the building. And then once they come in, we take their driver's license, run it through our Raptor system. That way we can do a quick background check on them to make sure that there's nothing that we need to be aware of or protect our kids from. And from there, they're given a visitor's badge and allowed access to the building.
Yeah, I would think that alone would be sufficient, that a person can't just walk in, that they have to be allowed in, and every door around the side and the rear of the building is locked, and yet I suppose it's
well, and even for us, you know, we have athletics going on. Well, they're going to have to leave to go out to the field. We have ag going on. They're going to have to leave to go out to the ag barn. We also have the Pride Prep, and we have kids coming in and out of there. We have to find better ways to protect our other entrances. Just because we do have kids going out in and out of the building, which is a good thing. We want them to have all those experiences, but we've also got to make sure that we're paying attention, that we know what's going on, that we're handling those things the right way.
Is there one police officer who is assigned to the Commerce ISD?
We actually have 2 police officers. This past year, we hired a second police officer. Now, one of the reasons we hired her was because we also saw a growing criminal justice need. So he's teaching 2 to 3 classes a day, and then the rest of his day. Now, he is based at the high school all day long. And then our other police officer, our chief of police, circles basically the 2 elementary schools and middle school. And if you notice, all 3 of those schools are real close together. So with the high school being further away, it gives him a lot smaller area to keep track of down there.
And the 2 officers are?
Joe Venerable and Dave Contreras.
And so one of them, well, there's 4 schools.
Yes, sir.
So it's not accurate to say one is an officer is at a school every minute of the day, but they're kind of shuttling back and forth.
Yes, sir. But the way we've got it set up, we do have one at the high school all day long, and then on the other side of the town, we have one, and you know, all of those are within a mile of each other, so he has really good access to all those. So we sort of try to set it up that way to make sure that we can have somebody there. Now, you know, things happen at one school, they're both pulled over there. If something were to happen somewhere else, then we do work a lot with Commerce Police Department, with UT Police Department, I mean with Texas A&M Commerce Police Department. We all have to work together.
And you say that the board meeting in March, there'll be a discussion of further things that
Yes,
might
sir.
be
That
done.
is one of the presentations. Now, any presentations regarding safety and security always takes place in executive session, so it's not open to the public because you don't want people to know what you're doing in some cases, so they advise that you never make that a public thing. But we're going to have an extensive presentation to see what are the possibilities. And we're always looking to improve. But yes, it is the most terrifying thing out there for an educator. Your kids are special.
In the time remaining, let's talk about the school calendar. This is, in some respects, old news, but last August, you all started just about before anybody else did. I don't know about in Texas, but around here.
Yes, sir, around here. There was a few others in Texas, actually a few others that started before we did, but we were on the news as starting first in North Texas. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but.
But you're not starting quite so early this coming August.
Last year, after we had already set our calendar, the state moved back their testing, and it's not a good idea to have testing the exact last week of school, especially for our elementary and middle school campuses that are trying to do all those end of school year programs. So what we've done is move everything back 1 week. So we are starting 1 week later, whereas last year we started around the 7th. This year we're starting on the 13th. So it pushes everything back 1 week. Now, we still have the fall break. That is something that we sent out survey with parents and with teachers and even students got to vote on it. And it was overwhelmingly that they enjoyed the fall break.
A week off in the middle of the fall.
Yes. Now, administrators don't get that week off. That's just for students, and that's just, for us, that week off is just like summer. We still work in the summer, so we're still working that time, but for our teachers and our kids, it does give them a break, a chance to step away and recharge.
And what you're working toward is to have a calendar that is more closely tracking the A&M Commerce calendar.
Yes, sir. Though we start a good bit earlier than A&M Commerce, the rest of the year ends up matching up really well for a lot of different reasons. One, for our dual credit classes, for our Pride Prep Academy, and then for the huge number of parents and employees of the university that are tied to our school district. I mean, we have more people coming from the college than any other place.
So, start about mid-August this coming school
Yes, sir.
year. You'll have a break in the fall.
Yes, sir.
There's other breaks that otherwise you would not have?
There's a Thanksgiving break.
Yeah.
There's a Christmas break, and then there's a spring break.
A week each time.
Except for Christmas is 2 weeks.
2 weeks, And then so the school year next year, that would be 2018-19. When would it end?
I believe it's the 24th. I've got it here.
Well, first of all, it's ending quite early this year.
Yes, the 18th.
18th of
May.
Of May. That is very early.
And this coming year, it'll end the 24th of May.
Whereas you have been going into June.
Yes.
Usually the first week of June.
We, even before this current year, we've tried to end the school year before Memorial Day. Now, that didn't always work.
Right.
Sometimes we were either having to do staff development before or after, but we are trying to get it to end before that Memorial Day break, because for years that's the way it was. So that's what tied into a lot of what our parents and our faculty wanted.
There's more I'd like to ask you about that, but we're out of time, so
Okay.
we'll do it another time. Charlie
Yes, sir.
Alderman, Commerce ISD Superintendent, so thanks for sitting down with us again. And let's talk at the town. I'm John Mark Dempsey. Thanks for watching.